Okay, all right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. As I look into some of the screens that are open, I think the first thing that comes to mind is like I've been seeing some of y'all way too much this past week. Every time I open up fucking Zoom, it's like Karen Ziegler. All right. Literally, I'm like, wait, what day is this? Because it's the same screen. A row of people that I'm seeing. We've been very busy this past week. I think a lot's been happening and more is happening, absolutely. But thank you, Eric, for holding this, and Karen as well. Often Karen doesn't have a choice because she's helping to tech host. So I can't blame you for stalking me because I need you. I maybe don't need some of you, but like I need Karen. So and Randa behind the scenes as well, training. Um, so as always, if you want to help out with some of this stuff, just let us know. Send us an email or a message. We could always use support in something. Um, so yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome to those who maybe have been away a while. Um, I'm Lama Rod. I use he, him pronouns. And I'm here on very sacred traditional lands of the Muskogee Creek and Cherokee people who, currently is a little wet and also pretty poor air quality. And so that's climate change. Right? Um, so yeah, so we're gonna be holding all of this. I mean, so many of us have been impacted by the hurricanes, as many of us continue to be impacted by these shifts in climate, be it fire, flood, earthquakes, right? So we want to always bring that kind of awareness, attunement into our practice, just like we try to bring everything into our practice. To really like bring in this work of learning how to practice on behalf of, right? And that can be called different things. There are different practices that, many of us are always doing for others, right? But you just always make that a part of your practice when you're praying, pray for the liberation of people from systems, right? Of the islands, to pray for people to have what they need, in this moment of really intense shifting, and this intense shift in history, I think. And to learn how to hold that, and as we hold it, that's for me synonymous with this teaching of consuming the chaos. To consume the chaos means that we hold the chaos instead of the chaos holding us, right? Which is, quite often happens with some of us, right? The chaos just comes in and we're swept up in it, right? And this is also why the earth is really important in this practice as well. Like to help consume the chaos, you have to anchor. Like you have to take refuge in something. Right? The earth, of course, beautiful refuge, but the refuge and the traditional three gems, the three jewels, right? Hold on, I'm teaching traditional Buddhism, y'all. I'm not, this isn't a mistake. Uh, Yes, I still remember what the three gems, the three jewels, what do you call them? The jewels, right? The diamonds, the three diamonds, honey.
It's the three jewels, the
The
three jewels.
three, the
Yeah.
three rubies. Rachel says I'm being sarcastic.
If we're really being honest, there is a range of metaphors available.
Well, in the tradition, they're referred to as the three jewels. So what can I say? And I love it when you do that. Keep it.
Yeah, so whatever those are, those three diamonds, right? Um, no. The diamond, three gems, the Buddha, the Sangha, and the Dharma, right? As we would traditionally in this path take refuge in, to take refuge in teachings, take refuge in clarity and wisdom itself, take refuge in the teacher, course, the teacher is not just a human or being. A teacher is the ultimate teacher, of course, is emptiness, from which springs all wisdom, wisdom being clarity, not wisdom or emptiness as this nihilism or coldness, but as something that's actually quite potent, quite rich, not a nothingness, but in many ways a somethingness, right? A something that lies outside of conceptualization and, categorizing. It is an experience. That's such that somethingness is the experience of complete agency and choice, right? To choose the experience. Because in our present position, we're just getting all the shit, right? But returning back to emptiness, there is this profound agency, right? To remember that state of what we are, which is also the state of everything that arises, all phenomena returns back to the great ocean of emptiness, that somethingness, right? And we forget that, and that's the root of our suffering, the forgetfulness, But yeah, this seems fucking real, right? This is real intense. It's a show that like it just seems on, it keeps going and going and going, right? But it's not, it is not so, right? To train in that remembrance, even though often it's faking it till you make it, right? It's okay to fake it till you make it, as long as you remember that you haven't made it yet. And that the point of faking it till you make it is to get to making it, you know? Um, but even that faking it till you make it, even that can end up bullshitting us. It becomes like the snake, charming the snake handler, the snake charmer. We are, I would say we are charmed by the illusion of phenomena, not just charmed by the comfort, but we're also being charmed by the suffering as well. We're charmed by suffering, or we're charmed by discomfort because we start equating discomfort with being, pain with being, trauma with being. I am because, right? There's no such thing as I am. There is a such thing as an experience. The experience I am experiencing. We can start there maybe, but I am the experience. I don't know. I don't know. We get lulled into this, right? Because we can't fathom what the other choice could possibly be. And that other choice, again, training to remember the emptiness, the somethingness, right? To train in the remembrance of the somethingness means that we have to begin to divest from the charms of the phenomenal world or phenomena itself. No matter how much we think we're actually experiencing something, it is still an illusion, right? And at the same time, it's an illusion we have to take seriously as well. So there you go. There it is. There's no such thing as black and white here, right? Because as soon as you plant yourself on one side, you begin to understand how incomplete that side is. And then you say, oh, I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to the other extreme. And then that's incomplete. You have to come back into the middle to sit in the middle to, I would say, queer the path. If the Buddha was serving tens on full enlightenment, and this was the ball he was establishing, setting up for us, right? Here we go. If you want to walk this this runway, this ballroom, honey, you have to come into the middle. You know, we can't stand the middle because that's another kind of discomfort. Fuck, right? It's both. This baby is both and, honey. Right? It's this and it's that, and you bring them together, and it's something else, honey, you know, and it's all of it. I mean, can you bear it? Can you possibly? I was thinking the other day how much I miss Wendy Williams. I really do, you know, and I know this feels like a complete topic shift, but I know I literally just felt Wendy Williams in my spirit. I was like, ooh, let me get my tea, honey. I don't know what that was. I was like, ooh, I was like, you haven't left us yet, because that's what happens. I feel the spirits moving, honey. I'm like, oh, you haven't left us, have you? Um, but we're praying for everyone, right? We are praying for everyone. I don't know where I was, but I'll just go back, you know, to talking about something Buddhist. But yeah, like I just really feel like if you really want to rock with this, like you have to come into this middle and walk this and do this middle shit, like queer this, right? It's not this, it's not that, right? Like what is it? I don't know. It can be whatever. Our imagination limits our liberation. I mean, and this is why I love Tantric Buddhism. This is why I love this tradition, because it's all about the imagination. You know, of course, you know, in Buddhism, we would say, in this particular school of Buddhism, we would say, oh, but you're imagining something that already is. You're imagining something, you imagine yourself to be medicine Buddha or Tara, because you are, because we're already awakened beings. We just forgot that, you know? So that logic kind of works, you know? So maybe it's not, we're not making it up necessarily, but we're trying to remember something. We're taking the word of something else or someone else and saying, you know what, I trust you. If you say I'm already awakened and I just have to work really hard to remember, I'll trust you. And that's called faith. You know? And then we train, and then of course we get data back from the training, from the practice, and says, oh, okay, something's happening, something's going on, right? And you keep going, right? And there are all these phases and everything in practice, but I don't want to keep talking about the phases and everything. I'll just keep going on and on and on, right? But I wanted to say that the opening song by the Harlem Quartet, that is led by my new friend, Melissa White, who I'll be doing a program with next Monday nights here in Atlanta at the High Museum. And we have been working to develop the program. It's just going to be an hour. Tickets are still available, I think. And we're just going to be like, you know, back and forth. It's just going to be her. So she's going to be playing some solo work. She does a lot of sound meditation work as well. And I'm going to be doing some guided meditations, and we're just going to be, you know, jamming together and see what happens. See what happens. Okay. So get back into that. If you know, if you're all local, please come and join us. But anyway, let's get into our practice. And again, please remember to just add your prayer to the prayer request form, the Google Doc, and I'll offer that after our first round of mantras. And we're bringing everything into our practice tonight, everything we're struggling with. You know, we're going back into another eclipse, still eclipse season. So I know some of us, I'm definitely feeling the rough waters of the eclipse. I don't know how this is smooth for so many people, you know. So I'm feeling that kind of dive back into, again, kind of intense shifting, right? So let's hold that in our practice. And we're also holding darkness as we're moving into the season. You know, Yeah, we can call it the celebration of light as we move into the season. You know, Diwali coming and the solstice and the equinox, of course, is past. Um, but this is also not just a celebration of light, but also an honoring of darkness. Because in, of course, indigenous, right, more indigenous, land-based paths, there was and continues to be a recognition of the medicine of darkness, you know, and to reclaim darkness, right? To reclaim your right to be with the darkness. Because the darkness, again, if we're talking about balance, particularly in this realm where we're right there, right, at that coming together of extremes, right? And so we sit celebrating the light, but we also sit honoring the darkness and honoring all these things that get relegated to darkness because we don't understand it. All the people who get relegated to darkness because they are misunderstood. Right? To reclaim the medicine of darkness, to reclaim it means that we also begin to hold space and develop agency over all the shit that we just habitually react to, which perpetuates the violence we perceive, darkness perpetuates. To reclaim that by holding darkness. To hold darkness, to hold anything is always an act of love. So let's just start here. And as you kind of arrange yourself and coming into a position for your practice, wherever that position is. Tonight, I will start by just lighting with one of my candles that I often light to begin practice. And this candles, I've often said, it represents Dharma. This is Dharma to me, a candle. You know, that it's illuminating light, which is clarity, but it's not overwhelming everything. It's a balance. It's not this raging fire, right? That's casting out all the darkness. It's one flame. And if I turn all the lights off, like it would barely illuminate the space, right? And that's all Dharma needs to do. It just needs to illuminate something, you know. But the periphery of darkness, the edges, or the boundaries that a candle potentially creates, right? It's important that we remember those boundaries, we remember the corners, we remember the shadows as well. Because that's part of our complexity. It's part of the complexity of the phenomenal world. It's part of our personal complexity that we're both full of light, absolutely. And then in this realm, there's still shadows. Those shadows arise as thoughts that are, you know, not completely 100% about liberation and reducing harm. And that's okay, right? Because again, we are called to hold, to respond to, right? And there are things that we don't have to respond to. But there are things that we can really, really choose to invest in, right, as well. And that's the balance. I don't want to forget my shadows, right? But also, I don't want them to overwhelm everything that I try to do. There has to be balance. I think that balance is how we lean into, being fully human, because we are also, we're not trying to become necessarily Buddhas. Okay, that's a hard one. We are trying to become Buddhas. But we have to do it through, since we're embodied, we are trying to do it through this paradigm of humanity. We're going through, we're moving along this path of liberation through the experience of humanity, being human. Not to bypass and not to do anything else, but to go straight into this experience where we are being called, as we are taught in Buddhism, right, to develop deep care or compassion, as well as deep clarity or wisdom, right? This path of humanity is what helps to train us in those experiences, those states of awakening. Sometimes I joke with some of my friends, particularly the ones that we have like tension, and we're like, and people who are friends who are doing incredible work, and friends who are, just doing great work. And sometimes we stop in a conflict and go, oh, one day when we wake up, we're gonna just laugh about this. Doesn't do a whole lot for the situation. But it's nice to have a break to say, you know what, I know like we should be doing better right now. And at the same time, here we are. Right? That's the paradox, the complexity of all of this. And you're like, but I'm still a Buddha. I'm still a Buddha, though this is how I train in my Buddhahood, is to meet the world. To meet the world and consume it. So anyhow, the light of Dharma. I want to invite you to continue moving into practice by, again, contemplating why you're practicing, your intention. And we're practicing to get free. I'll just help you. We're practicing to get free from suffering, from delusion, and we're helping all beings. From our most beloved to strangers and everyone in between. We're helping everyone through this practice, through what we're about to do. May this become medicine, not just for us, but for all beings to get free. And may this medicine, this collective medicine, be strong and potent, right? And even though this rarely happens, may the medicine go down with a spoonful of sugar. May the medicine be sweet. But if it can't be sweet, always, always, may it be potent. May it be appropriate. May the medicine meet every being where they are. May the medicine get to the root of the imbalance. May the balance be restored. I like that. I like that prayer. Someone should copy that down and get to that. That's how I roll these days. You don't see me picking up a pen right now. Right? May, if the medicine cannot be sweet, may it always be potent. You know, I pray for the sweetness for all of us. May it be sweet for all of us. When you feel like established in that intention, that reflection. Let's continue by touching the seat, noticing the weight of the body and the seat rising to hold us. Allow yourself to take refuge in the seats. And of course, beneath the seat, beneath all of us, is the land, the earth, the awakened earth, whom, for some of us in our practice, we call the mother. We greet the lands under us, and we should greet the lands that we're living on each day. As simple as this, turning our minds to the land and greeting, saying, hello, I greet you, thank you. And reflect on the kindness of the land. The land has offered so much for countless years, billions of years. We're grateful for that. We can consider even that the land, the earth, is our first ancestor on this planet. The element of earth, our first or earliest ancestor, maybe. How all the elements are our ancestors. And in certain ways, how all the elements are also our descendants. Offer a prayer to the land, to the earth, and we're asking the earth to continue to support us as we move deeper into our practice, as we make this journey again into darkness, searching for the medicine. May the land, the earth root us. But that rooting is not about rigidity or binding, but the rootedness is just the gentle reminding that we're being held on to. That even in the most intense practice, we're never that alone. We're never that alone. But it does feel lonely. And as we move deeper into our practice, again, I invite you to lift your attention and beginning to notice the space that you're in, that you're practicing in. And as always, you can practice with your eyes open, with your eyes closed, whatever feels appropriate for you. And in either way, I still invite you deeper and deeper into this, into the journey. So in the space around us, I invite you to imagine that everything, all phenomena around us begins to dissolve into darkness. You imagine just kind of dwelling or hovering or sitting within this darkness. Now, if there's a little bit of struggle here, just turn your attention again to the seats, the energy of the earth, anchoring your attention actually in the sound of my voice as a guide into this. As we're sitting in this darkness, we turn our attention to the first mantra, this opening mantra, this mantra of evoking, calling, awakening the consciousness of Medicine Buddha. Om Min La Sangye Kino. Soha. Medicine Buddha, please think of me. Look upon me. Because also we're grounding in a sense of agency and confidence. We we channel some of this energy into our supplication, not just, oh, Medicine Buddha, if you have some time, if you have a couple seconds, right? Think of me, gaze upon me, be present with me. It's just if if you're not watching your shows right now, in between episodes of Abbott Elementary, if you could come visit me, which is a fantastic show, by the way. And it's hard to be pulled away from that to heal people, but I imagine the Buddhas are are enlightened for some reason, it's out of my pay grade. But so not just as kind of asking, but confidence. I don't want to say aggression, but a directness. No, Medicine Buddha. No, look upon me. Please look upon me. You can say please. Like you have to, in this process, what I'm trying to get into more and more is that like you have to believe that you deserve to be held in the sacred gaze of the Buddhas, of whomever you're praying to, honestly. You have to believe that you are good enough, that you deserve this, that you matter. That always, first and foremost, I have to pray for my blessing. Because what do I have to give others if I'm not actually receiving what I need? So, Medicine Buddha, please look upon me. And to know that when we ask like this, Medicine Buddha is present, like all the Buddhas are present. So as we turn our attention back to the mantra, Om Min La Sangye Ki No Soha, we begin with Om, ending with Om as well after we chant the mantra 3 times. As we're chanting again, we're willing the consciousness of Medicine Buddha to begin to awaken in the space around us as we sit and dwell in this darkness. So we'll begin with Om. Om. Om la sange kino so Om la sange kino so Om la sange kino so And as we have called Medicine Buddha begins to arise for us. Medicine Buddha begins to appear in the space in front of us as we sit in this darkness. Beginning to appear and glowing radiantly like the moon. Like the moon in the midnight sky, a full moon shining brightly, illuminating the sky of darkness. And maybe as the moon arises, or the moon-like radiance of Medicine Buddha arises in the space in front of us, their illumination begins to illuminate all the Buddhas, all the Bodhisattvas of this universe. And we feel ourselves surrounded by Medicine Buddha, and however Medicine Buddha is awakening for us in our practice is fine as well. But the manifestation of Medicine Buddha beginning to illuminate all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, including all of our sources of refuge and benefactors as well. So we're going to go a little further. We're calling in another element into our practice, and that is the element of fire. So in the space, just right directly in front of us. So it's like Medicine Buddha is shining in the sky up above us. But it's as if we're sitting, and in the space in front of us, a small fire begins to awaken. It's like you're sitting at like a small campfire. All around you, the twinkling and radiance of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all of our benefactors. Medicine Buddha shining brilliantly in the center of all of this. And us sitting in front of this fire. This fire is a sacred fire. A fire that consumes and transforms so much of the suffering that many of us are struggling to negotiate. And thus, this is one of the sacred roles of fire in this world, to transform. Not just to destroy, but to transform, to illuminate clarity in that transformation. Fire becomes a vehicle that takes us from one experience to another. And we imagine that the sacred fire is blessed by all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, all our benefactors, that it becomes blessed, that all of these beings just offer this blessing down into the fire. And it becomes sacred. And not only does it become sacred, this sacred fire is linked to all the sacred fires being held and offered to across the universe of countless beings who, like us, are sitting before the sacred fire, praying and practicing, transforming, transmuting. This fire again begins to cast back the intensity of the darkness, just like all our benefactors in the sky and space around us. And when we're ready, we turn our attention back into our own experience. And we reflect on everything that many of us are struggling to hold or to tend to and to work with. All the anxieties, the fears, the worry, all the confusion, the brokenheartedness, the fatigue, the overwhelm, even the apathy or even the numbness as well. All the ways in which we feel lonely and isolated, unheard, unseen. But we're feeling this energy rise. And we can feel this energy often in our heart centers. So as we move into our main practice tonight, for the first part of the mantra, I invite you to imagine as you're sitting before this fire. So one by one, or as frequently as you wish, to begin to offer these experiences that we're struggling with into the sacred fire. And as we offer these things into the fire, they are being consumed, and their true nature, their true energy is being unlocked and released. Not just into the space around us, but also up to all and around to all of our benefactors as an offering. So as we begin our main mantra, offering into this fire, imagining all of these offerings into the fire are transformed into offerings for all our benefactors. And it becomes offerings of what we need as well back to us. What do we need right now? So offering the anxiety into the fire, having the fire transform that anxiety into hopefulness, into more clarity, into space, And what do you need right now? That offering into the sacred fire offer back to you what you most need. And we begin with our main mantra. O te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. Te around begenze, begenze, ma begenze, raza sumungate soha. 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아 대한다 온 베근세 베근세 마 베근세 라즈 수문가제 소아. And so staying in your practice, and I just turn my attention to the prayer requests. And as I offer the prayers in your practice, imagine that you're just offering these prayers into the sacred fire, right? And these prayers are transformed into the medicine that is being prayed for. And imagine that medicine being released and finding its way back to those who need it. So again, knowing that all of our sources of refuge are here, including all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, all the beings in the universe are here to hold these prayers as well as we do our part to unlock the medicine of the prayers in our practice. And so we begin. So today is Truth and Reconciliation Day in Canada. Prayers for all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit survivors and their families. May there be healing to all beings everywhere. Prayers for all those suffering, lost, and separated from their loved ones. Offering prayers of gratitude for all my beloveds. Prayers that I continually surrender to divinity and trust the phenomenal world that is already free. Offering prayers for my girl, that she be whole and thrive and grow her appetite and agency. Praying that may what I need be revealed to me. May Lama Rod reach freedom. May all beings in all the realms and all timelines be free. May all forms of abolition be realized right now to end all forms of carcerality. May every member of this beloved meditation community be held gently by Ma and never experience desperation. Michelle. Prayers for my upcoming move to Boston and a queer co-op to do the work and ask for the most fruitful blessings. Offering prayers for my collaborator and I to complete this book in a beautiful way, and may it reach its highest destiny as a force for healing and inspiration to right the wrongs of aggression and violence and justice. And offering prayers for us to continue this work to help other humans and spirits and the infinitum. Offering prayers for all my Western North Carolina neighbors living with the reality of loss, grief, and shock. Offering prayers for my son Lucas, who is receiving a kidney from our dear friend Garen this Wednesday, October 2nd. Prayers to this community in Lama Rod that has been a deeply anchoring space. And offering prayers for clarity, wisdom, and compassion at work and in my relationships. Offering prayers for me to leave all my addictions once and for all. The struggle has been long. May all beings struggling with addiction be freed from the struggle also. Offering prayers for Renee recovering from surgery. Offering prayers for my upcoming stem cell transplant. Prayers for M&R. May they experience freedom and healing. Prayers for myself. May my depression and anxiety lift. Offering prayers for NP and L. May they feel loved and appreciated and make the choices that work best for them. Offering prayers for my children, may they be supported and loved. Offering prayers for myself and my partner as we look for a new place to live. May we find a place that we love that also supports our freelancer lifestyle and finances, and may we find a place for my mother that is safe and supportive of our financial situation. May all beings be free from suffering. Offering prayers for me to be free from the emotional drain of my family. Offering prayers for those who are living in the devastation of Helene, especially in the Roots, Wounds, Words community, who are all still making their way out of mud and water. Offering prayers for clarity and the next right action on my path, that I may have the courage and compassion to take this step and follow my intuition. Offering prayers to my dad and all he has going on health-wise at this moment, and may he be nourished and supported as navigating the health challenges, and may he find answers soon that can help him make the needed adjustments to be healthy as he can in this moment. Offering prayers for my beloved, may they find space for rest and nourishment so they can recover from their cold and move through the many emotions and transformations they're experiencing. Offering prayers for my dear cousin Emma as they continue chemotherapy treatment for breast cancer this week. May the treatment be as easy on their bodies as possible, and may they receive the support they need from their community in the process. May they trust the process. And offering prayers For self-confidence, as I experience transitions on various levels this week, may I have the confidence, trust, and faith I need to follow the clarity I feel to follow my path. May I remember and trust that I have what I need. Offering prayers for Amy and her friend that they are safe on their backpacking trip this week. Offering prayers for Kelly's mom, who is stranded right now, that she is safe and that the rescue teams find her and her husband. Offering prayers that I'm able to find income to support myself after a sudden job loss. Offering prayers for Alexandra's mom, who recently passed to the other side, and to Alexandra, who is holding so much right now. Prayers for me as I make my way through some turbulent waves, learning about autoimmune disorder happening in my body. Offering prayers for Christine and her loved ones in Nashville, and prayers for all the humans and more than humans after the devastation of Hurricane Helene flooding. And may the prayers continue for as long as they are needed. Offering prayers for my children, Hollister and Jamie Trott, and their concern for their half sister Elizabeth Trott, who is an EMS worker in the mountains doing search and rescue work. Prayers for all the responders and helpers who are helping the victims of the storm and looking for those who are missing. Prayers for the families of those who are missing as they wait in hopes of locating their loved ones alive. Also prayers for Jamie as his employer, who lives in Nashville, that their business can withstand the devastation and everyone is able to stay employed. Prayers for my friends, Mihad and Janice Siller, both approaching 90, also in that area. May they remain safe and have whatever they need. Prayers for the land and all the beings across our world and other worlds suffering from these human-induced disasters. May we awaken to the harm we're doing into a deep love and wish to transform our relationship to our incredible Mother Earth. Prayers for Lebanon, for everyone in the area. Prayers that our government wakes up to the damage we're inflicting by supplying weapons of complete destruction. May we send love to everyone on all sides of this terrible conflict. Offering prayers for my neuropathy to heal. Prayers for my clarity, my remembering, my focus, my discernment, and my resolve. Prayers for the families of murdered and missing Indigenous women and two-spirit relatives and for their safe passage home. Prayers for justice in the relative realm for those beloveds and their families. Prayers for my mental health, energy, and physical body. Prayers that me and my loved ones and all beings have what they need, as Lama Rod says. Prayers for healing for my brother and all those affected by war and weather. Prayers for my parents. May they know freedom. May they open to a more liberatory path. And may they honor me for who I am. And offering prayers that I can shed what I need to shed. Offering prayers for the safety and liberation of all Palestinian kin. Prayers for those who fear their grief, their vulnerability, and extend that fear into perpetuating violences. Prayers for the well-being of myself and all those I love and care about, and those whom I don't know. Prayers for my commitment to my liberation and preparing to leave my home with 23 years. Prayers for my financial wellness. Offering prayers for my students. May they learn and change and challenge themselves and trust that they are enough regardless of the outcomes. And may I remember I am enough to be their imperfect shepherd. Offering prayers for me, my family, and our home to be safe, protected, and healthy over these next weeks as we travel. Prayers for the healing of the relationships between Anna and Tara, and between Elisa and Sonali. Prayers for Matt and their family who lost their father last week, and may they find solace in their grief and togetherness. Prayers for all those experiencing chronic illness and pain. Prayers for my freedom. May I be well resourced. May I do the work that is meaningful, creative, and impactful, and may the abundance flow no matter what. May my home be protected, and may I always be protected and safe. Offering prayers for my anxious self, my ancestral fear, and may it rest in emptiness and release from this body. Offering prayers for a friend who lost her brother, best friend, very recently. Prayers for the clinics I serve may take a decision to sleep inside and be sheltered as the weather gets colder here in Boston, and also be open to working on housing and receive the deepest healing possible. Prayers for Tracy tonight, that she can adjust to living in her new apartment and remain housed. Prayers for my daughter, Anton, who is driving to Arizona tonight in the hopes of starting over. May she be safe, protected, and free. Prayers for myself as I navigate multiple transitions. May I be safe, protected, and most of all, free. Offering prayers for my beloved, may they be free from any pain and suffering. May they open to their inherent worthiness. May they receive the love that they so clearly deserve, and may they always be deeply protected. Offering prayers for peace and harmony inside of me and my family, my community, and our world. Prayers for myself as I honor my ancestors on the anniversary of my father's birthday, who transitioned in 2020. And I continue to offer prayers for my own family, for the recovery of my aunt, for the wellness of Bev, for the healing of grief, of members of my family still grieving the loss of folks. And as always, we continue to pray for the complete abolishment of all systems of harm, of violence, that we all collectively, as quickly as possible, remember our awakened natures, and may we all remember and return back to the state of complete enlightenment. May this be so as quickly as possible. So as we turn back into our practice, still sitting with the fire, we imagine that the fire begins to grow bigger, as big as you want, right, in your practice. And that you imagine eventually that not just you, but also all of our benefactors and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and so forth are all kind of circling around the fire. And as this fire gets bigger, and as we move into just this last round of chanting, we imagine that all of the suffering of this phenomenal world is being channeled into this fire, transformed back into the medicine that is really complete liberation, freedom. And imagining that this is being offered back to all the beings in this world. This exchange of suffering and the transformance of the suffering into medicine offered back to all beings to help them heal from the delusion that we find ourselves trapped in. Let's begin again. O te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada begenze begenze ma begenze rasu sumunga zoha te ada 수문간에서와 대야자 원배견세 배견세 마배견세 라스 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 수문간에서와 대야자 배견세 배견세 마배견세 라스 수문간에서와 대야자 원배견세 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 배견세 마배견세 라스 수문간에서와. So again, returning our attention back into the space to all our benefactors, the Buddhas, the medicine Buddha, all of them around us. We thank all these beings for their kindness, for their love, for always showing up, always being present for us in this work of liberation, for always being with us from life to life, knowing that they will stay with us until we completely remember. Having imagined that they have accepted our gratitude, they all begin to dissolve into white light. Imagine that this white light is absorbed into the fire in front of us. And slowly, or even quickly, that fire, whatever color you've been imagining your fire, that this fire begins to erupt in blue flames, the same color of medicine Buddha. And that fire begins to slowly shrink into the size of a regular size flame on a candle. And imagine that that flame enters into our heart centers and takes its place within our own hearts, where that light illuminates throughout our whole bodies. Knowing that this flame is a reminder, is a symbol that we are always connected to the clarity, the love, and kindness of all of the Buddhas, all the beings of light and liberation in this universe. That no matter what happens, we can always return our attention to this flame in our heart center to remind us that we always carry the light, no matter how dark it gets. And may this be our medicine until we meet again. And when you're ready, shifting your attention back to the seat and the weight of your body in the seat, connecting to the earth, greeting the earth once again, and also offering gratitude for how the earth has held us in this practice. And when we're ready, we turn our attention to the Shantideva's prayer, which you will find in the chat box, which we'll recite 3 times. And when you're ready, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Thank you all so much for your lovely practice. And always as a reminder, all of these recordings are on the YouTube. And I hope you're practicing in between our sessions, and that's why we put those up. So you can go back and watch them as much as you like. So please do that. And I will not be here for the next 3 Mondays. I will be back at the end of October. Of course, next Monday I'll be live and in persons, and then the next 2 Mondays I'll be in the UK with some of you as well. So during our annual, actually this is our first annual autumn retreats in the UK. And deep gratitude to everyone who's making that happen. Like it's real tricky organizing in another country. Yeah, you think Americans are difficult to deal with? My God. I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying because you're so indirect.
The
Like,
shade. I'm gonna stop this recording for the sake
let's
of
stop it right now.